We have the patch notes for the next season of Call of Duty Mobile, and some of these are so interesting they are absolute game changers, while the other ones are so meh you'll wonder why the devs bothered at all. Let's get started. First off, we have the RAAL MG. Its head multiplier has been buffed to 1.5, and you might think, oh, that might be an insignificant change, but no, it actually allows this gun to 2-tap in the first range to the head, and that makes it a pretty fast killing option if you actually do get those headshots in. Topic of multiplier buffs, we have the chopper. Its chest multiplier has been increased to 1.17x, and what this means for you is that 4 tapping in the second range is a bit more consistent now. Well, you must all remember how the MK2 got insane ADS speed buffs and they kind of forgot about the SPR. Do not create a monopoly for the MK2, the SPR too has gotten an ADS time reduction going down to 350 ms. Similarly, the Kilo Bolt Action 2 has gotten an ADS time reduction going down to 300 ms. Next up we have the Mini Annihilator, the Argus. One of its attachments have gotten a buff, that being the choke. The changes are going to be up on screen right now and these are very welcome. This gun really benefits from better ADS BSA. But the problem is, if unsuppressed guns aren't really your jam, this doesn't really affect you at all and it's kind of irrelevant. The last time this gun was relevant, it was considered pay to win, the HBRA3. Its upper arm multiplier has been increased to 1.2x and its Thunderbolt sling now has an extra 10% horizontal recoil reduction. These buffs make the gun slightly less underwhelming to use thanks to the reduced horizontal recoil and allow it to pretty much have a guaranteed 4-shot in the second range. The ISO 45, its arm multiplier has been increased to 1.1x, which will allow you to 4-shot kill a bit more consistently in the second range, but considering this gun has horrible mobility, horrible range, almost horrible everything, you still don't have a lot of reason to use it, although it does make it slightly more viable. The PPSH, its hipfire spread has been buffed, and most people do tend to think, I'm gonna be ADS'd anyway, why does the hipfire spread matter? And even if so, when you're transitioning from your hipfire to ADS and shooting, this stat does become pretty relevant, and it's also one of the reasons why the Fennec is so strong. However, this buff does not address one of the biggest problems of this gun, which is the recoil. We just have a lot of guns this time around, don't we? Don't worry, these are about to start to get really interesting, so you have to stick around until the ending. And if you do appreciate the hard work and effort that goes behind our videos, make sure to like and subscribe right now. PV19 Bizon and the CBR4 both have gotten BSA buffs. They're slowly bringing these guns back to their prime, aren't they? And if you use them, one of their biggest drawbacks was the BSA, so this certainly makes them very viable options going forward. Next up, we have one of the more interesting changes, the M16. Its hit range has been reduced to 0.5 and its stomach multiplier has been buffed, making it less punishing and more consistent to one burst if you actually do hit below the upper body. Another M series of guns has seen similar changes, the M13. Its chest multiplier has been increased to 1.1x and its lower arm multiplier has been increased to 1.06x. This actually lets this gun 4-shot kill in its first range decently consistently, only needing 3 arm shots, and when you do get that 4-shot, it's a very fast killing weapon. Now, as promised, the changes are starting to get really juicy. The CX9. This gun has always been a pretty solid competitor to the Fennec. It does have its drawbacks, yes, like bullet velocity, but it's nonetheless a good SMG. The devs have went ahead and bridged that gap even closer. It has better hit range now and its CX38E barrel has better range and bullet velocity. So, if you haven't noticed, this indirectly buffs the CX9 burst as well. Already one of the strongest SMGs in the game, what were the devs thinking? It gives it slightly better range consistency and makes it even more powerful. Next up, we have one of the biggest winners of this patch, the XM4. It is a mythic and the devs need to make money somehow, so they improved upon one of its biggest drawbacks, that being the recoil. It's reduced visually, horizontally and vertically. Prior to this buff, you kind of had to run the foregrip if you want to have decent recoil, which hogs an attachment slot. But now that is no longer the case, so you can run something like the bruiser grip or an optic of preference. Depending on how significant these changes are, it could be a better Type 19. get to the final big change, there are some slight minor changes that are not really worthy of talking about and fairly obvious, so we'll show them up on a graphic right now. Finally, we have the Death Machine. Its damage resistance has been increased to 30% from 25%, but here's the real major change. Its entire body multipliers have increased to 1.2x. Now imagine how fast a USS-9 kills you when it 2 taps to the head. 100 milliseconds. This gun can do even faster than that because its RPM can go up to 1000. Simply put, this operator is broken and you're not gonna have fun playing against it next season. Lock and load, going dark.